this. Two of you are probably some of the most decent MPs in the House in terms of deportment and civility and so on. Well, I know, I'm looking at Dominic too and sort of going, well, I'm not sure. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. Listen, there has been a motion put forward by Michael Chong, a Conservative member, saying there are 5 ways, 5 things that we can do to clean up question period. I think you would agree, and I certainly know that anybody who's watching, who has been here and watched question period, looks in sort of horror sometimes at the antics that go on, the gotcha type of questions, the evasive answers, the non-answers. It's theater of the worst kind. Let me ask you, should question period be cleaned up? Is there a way of doing it that we can actually have something substantive on a daily basis in this place?
Yes, I agree with Michael, and I think he's onto something. I've seen Paul Wells has written some sensible stuff about this. You know, when you go to the Westminster Parliament in London, you watch their question time, they call it, once a week. It is so much more intelligent. There are sharp barbs and there's a little bit of heckling, but it's done with wit, with respect. There's a substantive exchange. I've been on both sides of the fence. I used to run a question period in the opposition. I'm sure Dominic's colleagues in government thought we went over the top a lot. Frankly, Tom, the media play a role in this because they create the incentives, and the incentives for the opposition to get the TV clip, and the more outrageous, the more theatrical, the better. I think we all need to find ways to turn the thing into a more substantive exchange. Still, hopefully, we'll get coverage and feed the media beast, but we do all need to improve the quality.
And Dominic, the thing about it is, you know, as famously has been said, there's a reason why it's called question period and not answer period, because you don't get answers in this thing. But one of the reforms suggested is, as Jason was just saying, have a designated day where the Prime Minister has to stand there for 45 minutes and answer all questions that come his way. On other days, maybe it's another designated minister. Does this make sense to you?
It may. The government is increasingly designating, for example, Minister Baird to take all the questions on all kinds of issues, so maybe they're already adopting certain suggestions from Mr. Chong. Mike Chong was at the University of Toronto with me. We were students together at U of T. I think he's a terrific member of Parliament. He's a thoughtful guy. I think he's put forward, frankly, some interesting ideas. I agree with Jason that if opposition members agreed to ask substantive, serious questions, not designed to get the clip on your show, Tom, and then the government undertook to try and provide substantive answers and avoid taking a cheap shot at the questioner. Then everybody has to participate to make this work. My sense is that we're due for that kind of conversation. But at the end of the day, I mean, one of the more appalling spectacles last week, I think, was the NDP member at the Government Operations Committee, I think, questioning Mr. Jaffer with Parliament, with Pat Martin, was clearly over the top. Remember, we talked a bit about it on the set of your show, but you can't resist because he used all the loaded language, and all of the networks were covering that, and that evening that was the so it becomes a bit of a race to the basement. So everybody sort of has to stop the race and ask those questions, and frankly, maybe Mike Chong's motion is a way to do that. I mean, I hope it has a lot of merit.
Maybe what we need is a UN peacekeeping force to come in and take care of this. Anyway, Jason Kenney, Minister of Immigration, Dominic LeBlanc, Justice Critic for the Liberals, thanks very much as always. Good
Thanks,
having
Tom.
you.